Hi, Michael.
Hey,
What are we doing today?
I'm gonna show you, like, once you get your plants sprouted,
Yeah?
how you can take them out of this little pot and put them in a pot by themselves to let them grow a little bit more before we put them in the ground.
Okay, so this is step 2 of Michael the seed starting stallion.
We could probably leave these in here and they'd be fine because I'm probably gonna put them in the ground within the next couple of weeks. But a lot of times I'll do this because it will take this smaller plant and make it grow out quicker. One of the things you can do with tomatoes, like that a lot of other plants won't do, and if you get in here close, I can show you. You see the stem on there? How it has all those little hairs? I don't know if that's going to show up on the camera.
Yeah, I can see him.
Everywhere that those touch soil will form roots. So when you plant a tomato plant, you usually plant it, especially when it's young, fairly deep. I'm going to plant this in this pot and put dirt all the way up to the bottom leaf there. So that 1.5 to 2 inches of stem will be under the ground. It'll make a much stronger plant later.
Is that like a baby root?
It's just the way a tomato is made. A wild tomato plant is a vine that when it grows, it'll fall over and grow along the ground. Well, it's beneficial for it to be able to root from its stem because then it can grow bigger and bigger and further away. Even though these won't do that, they're more of a bush type plant because they're hybridized. It still has the ability to make roots all along its body. One thing you can even do, and I wouldn't do it with these because they're too small, but if you have a larger plant that puts out a side stem and you don't want that, you can cut that off and stick it in some soil and it'll root. You'll have another plant.
Neat.
So here's what we're going to do. It's real simple. Somebody asked this, and I'm going to answer it, and I'm going to go into detail, even though it may be too much detail. The question was asked, how do you get the plants out of here and put them into something else? And it's one of the reasons that I choose, and I mentioned it, I think, in the other video, one of the reasons I choose this kind of tray. And there's other kinds that have a hole in the bottom or things like that, but this flexible rubber green part on the bottom here. Okay, so we're going to kind of push up, and I'll grab the base of this. And these don't have quite as many roots on them as I wish they did, but you can see they're hanging out of the bottom. That's all roots, which is good. The more roots on a young plant like that, the better, because it'll make for a stronger plant.
Now, what did you put inside of these?
It's just some of this, and I put a little bit in there to where it would lift this up to the height that I need it to be.
Where did this soil come from? This is that bag soil?
That's the exact same thing that I use for everything.
Okay.
And we're just gonna...
Did you add anything to the soil?
No, I'm gonna give them some liquid fertilizer that's organic once I get them in here and get them settled. We'll mix it down to a low dose to where it's okay for real young plants like this. And you just kind of
pack it in.
Well, you don't want to push too hard, but you want to firm it to get any air out of the soil. But you can see how that whole stem now is under the ground.
Yep.
It'll make that thing root out, and you will be surprised in a couple of weeks how fast these will grow. They'll probably be triple that size within the next 2 weeks,
Okay.
which is what I want.
So that's one down.
That's one, and we'll do the exact same thing for all of these. I'm probably not going to plant this smallest one because it's kind of a rut. I only need 6 of these, and I've got 7 really nice transplants. So we likely will have that extra one anyway. Usually you want to pick your strongest ones, and for whatever reason, that one's kind of behind the curve. I don't know. I might stick it in a pot, and we'll just see what it does. If it grows, then I could always use it or give it away or whatever.
Don't count me out.
But we're going to do the same thing with all of these.
Okay.
Like that. Just like this. Some of these are a little bit taller than the other ones. You just kind of get close. Get as much of the stem buried as we can without getting the roots. And a lot of people tell you to like pinch off any leaves that are touching the ground, but I don't do that. I don't think you need to. I've never had it be a problem. These pots drain really well, so when I water them, they're not going to sit in water.
So 2 down.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much now, but again, you'd be amazed with the weather starting to warm up how quickly just moving them from something small into something larger that'll hold a little bit more water, how fast they'll grow. It's sometimes surprising. It's like you can watch them overnight jump. I see that one's got a little bit better roots on it. See how that whole thing came out? You can see all the roots.
Yeah. And that all came from that one little seed.
Just that one little seed will make a plant bigger than me by the time it's full size.
Plants are cool. And they taste good too. You're doing the Lord's work, Michael.
Well, we like to have them to eat, so if you want to have them to eat, you got to do a little bit of work up front. But it's not difficult. You can see this is pretty easy. Anybody can do it.
That's beautiful. So, Michael, the seed starting stallion part 2 is
Moving forward.
how long do you leave them in this container now that they're teenage?
Most of that this time of the year, because it's early in the spring, has to do with the weather. If it's going to be below 50 degrees, I usually will put these under cover. They don't have to go inside because they're fine at that temperature. But when I get lows at night that are consistently above 50, that soil in those raised beds heats up a little bit quicker than ground soil does. And you want it in the 70-degree range. Once it gets into that range, which by mid-April here we usually are, by then I can do it. If I can get them in a little bit earlier, that's always better. But you don't want to take chances with a frost catching them or any cool weather really slowing them down. If they get hit with a frost, it would, at this size, it would likely kill them, and we'd have to start all over again.
Yeah, we don't want to do
We don't
that.
want to do that because that's a long time.
So, a little backstory. We almost did this last weekend, right? But we knew there was a cold front coming.
I usually will watch, and I just use my phone, but you can, however you get your weather.
Yeah, it dropped down to what, 35 degrees?
Yeah, I think it was actually forecast for 38. We got to like 36, which we had a light frost, and you can see some damage on some of those tender plants out there from it. It would have killed these.
Yeah, so good thing you had that farmer's almanac.
Well, I just watch the weather. I don't use an almanac. So a lot of people do, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Like my papa used to pull that paper out and read it.
It's worked for a long time. Like I said, I'll focus on whatever the 10-day forecast is, and I'll kind of look out 10 days. And this is not crucial all the time, just when you're first starting in the spring. And if I can see for the next 10 days, which is about as far out as I'm really confident in a forecast, just start looking for trends and see what it looks like. Well, I looked at it yesterday, and for the next 10 days, it's supposed to be above 50 degrees. So after that, once you start getting into the middle part of April this far south, it is very rare that we would get any chilly weather.
Right.
So,
But it's been a crazy year so far, Michael, in
it has.
Louisiana.
We're going to keep watching it for sure. I'm not going to take any chances. If we have to push them back another week or so, it's one of the advantages to going into a larger pot. It's not going to set them back like it would if I left them in there for too long.
Right on. Well, if some of you guys are watching, drop a comment on where you're watching from. Like what city or state. That would be cool. We'd love to see where the video is getting to and what climates that you guys are having to deal with.
And we've had this happen a little bit, but if you have any questions, feel free to post them. We can get back to you. If I know the answer, I'll be happy to share it.
Absolutely. We're down near Baton Rouge, Louisiana here. And so we have had record breaking, as you probably saw in some of the other videos. Some wild weather. Like, share, comment, all the things. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
So just for the record, he felt bad about the little bitty runt, and he put it in a plant. Y'all cheer it on.